Hello there, everyone. Patricia here. And I want to pose this question that has been sitting around in my notes for a while, but it's like it is time to lay it out there. And the question is this: are you tired of hustling for hustle's sake yet? Are you? And I figured it was time to help some folks answer this question because I recognized that I was tired of hustling for hustle's sake a few years ago. And I can pretty much tell you almost the exact moment and then what I did or did not do to move forward from that. And so I would like to share some of those insights and those tips and that background on that because there comes a time when for your own growth and your own well being, it's time to move on from hustle. And because hustle is not all it's, cracked up to be, right? All right. So here's the thing always a backstory. If you know anything about my history background, I've had some really high level positions. I'm a licensed attorney. I still maintain my license. I don't necessarily practice as much. Do some things on the side. Occasionally, I get asked to pick up some casework, but I do a lot of management, consulting, things like that. And when I started um, my own business and started consulting and doing legislative consulting and leadership development on my own. I mean, hey, all that hustle stuff like just goes into overdrive. So the first part, if I'm going to break it up into parts, is literally, when you're getting out of college and starting your career, guess what? It's just natural to get it because you're trying to achieve whatever goal, you're trying to prove yourself, all of that. I get that. No one's saying, you shouldn't. Again, there are levels to it. And there are some times when young folks even overdo it, but you get it, right? They're starting their career. But then as you shift into your mid career, that hustle shifts as well, right? Because now maybe you are at a mid level position or getting into some serious leadership roles potentially. And you've got a family, let's say. Like, so there's a little more pressure on performing so that you can make sure you take care of your family and pressure externally from expectations that people may have about what you should do next because of what you have done, right? And then you just keep moving and you get to this point and you're like, okay, I've achieved so many of these different things. Like, what is the next thing to go after? And that's where I hit my question. That's where I hit my question mark. For me, in that piece, as I moved from working for others to working for myself and doing, again, all that hustle in a new vein, generating business, staying visible, putting myself out there. That kind of hustle will really get you. That whole like, oh, I gotta be quote out there so that people know who I am. Where yes, visibility matters. It absolutely does. And there's a way to do it without running yourself into the ground because that's ultimately where a lot of hustle can lead you. Now, am I saying there aren't moments in your time or career at all levels where you like, okay, I gotta get my energy up and let's go lean into this situation and take care of it. No, I am not saying that. There absolutely are those moments when you still have to gear up, make sure something happens, and and get it done, get the work done, right? There are always going to be those types of situations. What I'm talking about is being in that mode all the time. That will wear you out. And even if you're looking out, at all the quote successful people or these people in big business, first of all, we have to remember not to, do the whole comparison thing because There is so much going on behind the scenes with those people that you do not know and do not see, right? What are their stressors? What are their stress points? What are the things they're having to deal with to keep that quote image and visibility alive, right? How that's affecting them internally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of that. Like, you're not seeing all that. So you really can't, it's not an honest comparison. You cannot compare yourself to those levels of uh, hustle that you see happening with those people out there. The ones who are honest and will tell you, hey, this ain't all it's cracked up to be, those are the ones you need to listen to. Don't say, oh, I don't want to hear that because they're just being negative. No, no, no. They're telling you the truth. Those are the ones you want to listen to. And the situation gets to a point where you're like, and why am I doing this again? Like, why am I, quote, in this hustle? Why am I in this continued heightened state of the next thing? And a lot of times it's built on this mindset of scarcity. That's why I said, don't worry about the comparison piece, whatever. Because when you start comparing who you are and what you have to what someone else out there has and does, like, you're putting yourself in scarcity mindset because you think you're missing out on something. So it's like, well, let me go hustle some more to go so I can get what they have. But you don't know what they had to do to get what they have. You don't know the sacrifices that they had to make, that they are making, right? And you might not be willing to make those sacrifices. Those are some lessons that I started becoming more aware of the more I, got into staying and choosing to continue to work for myself versus going back to work in a regular 9 to 5, because there were opportunities and ones that I considered seriously. And they didn't work out. And it's like, keep it moving, right? But also in recognizing there's some things behind that curtain that I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with that. Or recognizing when someone who looks like they have it all pulled together and getting a little bit of a glimpse into the fact that they don't, by maybe a conversation that you're engaged in, or a story that's told somewhere, or a shift in the pictures that's being posted on Facebook and Instagram, right? And things shift. You're like, well, what is that about? Well, if you really pay attention, you could probably figure it out and recognize everything's not hunky-dory. And a lot of times we see that with, quote, influencers or celebrities or whatever, and it seems so sudden when all of a sudden they announce, a breakup, a divorce, the company's, dissolving or whatever. And it seems like, oh my gosh, guess what? That didn't happen overnight. There was buildup to that. And there's a lot of things that they're dealing with behind the scenes to have to address it now. Is that what you want to do? So here was my thing. My moment was, like I said, I was been working for myself, so I'd have to do things to stay visible. I've always, been partial to doing volunteer work. So that I never considered that before as part of the hustle. But I recognized it was when there was like to the point of an overcommitment, right? So I was getting to more, I won't say surface because I always had some depth, but spreading myself too thin across many places, as opposed to tightening the circle and going into some depth, right? And that's more of what I've done as of late. Um, Tighten the circle, go deeper. But before I got to that, there have been moments where I'd be asked to serve on something, or to put together a plan for something, or be considered for some award or something. And I'd be like, okay, look, or maybe I'm seeing something. I'm like, should I apply for that? Is that going to be beneficial to me? Or how could this be beneficial to me? All legitimate questions. But I got to this point where, and I don't remember what the recognition award thing was. I don't remember. But it was something where someone could nominate you, or it could be self nomination. And I was like, well, I haven't really been a part of, some leadership development group in a minute, or this other. So I'm like, should I apply for this? And then I literally asked myself the question, why? Like, why? And not just like, oh, but like at a like something deep from within was like, and why are you going to do that? And when I started really reflecting and sitting with that, I was like, well, the real rationale was just about maintaining visibility. And again, it was kind of like, and is that enough of a reason to have to put in all that effort to try to make this thing happen? And the answer to it was no. And I was like, wow. That was like a huge light bulb moment. And I was like, okay. And from that point forward, I learned to question and ask that question why and go deeper on it when something else would come up that I would feel pulled to, like, oh, I should go do. It was like, and why? And the more I asked that question, the fewer things I took on, the fewer things I engaged in, the fewer things I went trying to go do or be seen at, because I recognized all of that was about hustling to do X for visibility. And I didn't need to do that anymore. I could be more strategic with what I was doing. I could be more thoughtful about what I was engaging in. I didn't need to show up to something just to show up and just to be seen. I didn't need it anymore. I'd been doing that for decades. I get to choose differently, and I choose no. I choose no. And it's amazing how freeing that was. And for a whole bunch of other reasons, right? Playing into my managing my stress for health reasons and all of that. And all that, well, whoosh. And so now I'll see things. I don't have the impetus. Every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, I should probably go to that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like that. I don't feel that. Other times I'm like, hey, you know what? I do feel like I want to be a part of something. I want to be able to talk to some people. Like it's not just about, quote, being seen, about putting myself out there for visibility's sake solely, but like, what's the depth point for it? Like, what's the next thing? How is this feeding into who I am and who I want to be at this level? So that's not saying I'm like, oh, there aren't still things I want to be visible and seen at. That's not it at all. I just don't go do 1,000 things at once. I don't serve on 10 boards at a time anymore. And that's only exaggerating by a few, I think. But I got to do that. I'm like, tighten the circle, tighten, go deeper, get some depth, some more depth to more things right now, and let those things be the source for being seen, for having greater visibility, for being able to provide some insights and depth to conversations. Because the reality is, I don't have to be in all the conversations all the time anymore. Do I miss it sometimes? Sure. I did it a lot. And it's okay not to. It is okay to shift your focus, to change your direction, and to say there are some things that I used to do a lot of that I don't have to do anymore, or I don't want to do anymore. and I'm going to shift my focus in this way. The thing is, when you have hustle mentality or the hustle grind, all that, I hate that word. Grind it out. I hate that. Athletes use it a lot. And I have athletes in my house, and I'm like, it makes me shiver every time I hear it. I get it in that context. But when that grinding mindset and um, and mentality enters into your workspace and your personal space, that's a no. And there comes a time when you have to decide, or should decide, is it really worth it anymore? What am I really getting from it? And sometimes you may not like the answer to it, because you may realize, oh, this is really egocentric. And I'm like, let me step back. Or this is, to benefit someone else, but I'm the one paying the price for it, right? Reflection, valuable reflection time there. And so when that why comes up for you, don't ignore it. Don't brush it off with some surface level answer. Like, sit into it. Like, think about it. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? Do I really want to do it? Who is this benefiting for real? And is this where I want to be in my life right now? Where do I want to be? And there are levels to it, right? Like the whys, maybe small at first, and that's when you first shift. Again, coming straight out of college, it shifts. And then when you're entering into your next level in your career, it may shift. When you get some family and engaging some of that may shift. All of these things, it happens. But there's also a time, I'm just warning you, some of you may be there, where the big why comes up. And you're like, and why am I really doing this again? Don't ignore it. Listen to your gut, honor yourself, and be okay with saying, I'm done with hustle culture. I'm over it. And then redefine what going deeper, what engaging at high levels looks like for you now, today. Because I guarantee you, it is not the same as when you were fresh out of college, or when you first started your career, when you first started working, or when you had your first major transition as a professional, or whatever the thing might be. It shifts, it changes. Acknowledge that shift and that change. It's called growth. And you want growth to happen. When you ignore those questions, then you actually are causing harm to your own personal and professional growth. You're stunting yourself. Don't do it. Lean into it. It may be a little rough. It may, hit you in the gut a little bit, may hurt your feelings some, but I'm telling you, there is freedom that comes from moving on from straight hustle culture, so that you can dive deeper into what you care about today for real, not what people think you should care about or what people think you should be doing, but what you actually want to do and how you want to do it. It matters. Lean into that. Okay? There we are. Love it. Love that. I'd love to hear from you on some of those shifts, if you've had the shift yet, or if you're feeling trapped in hustle and feeling like, oh my God, I don't know that I can get out of it. That sounds like you might need to schedule some time for chit chat and a little strategy power hour to get yourself out of a moment, or maybe you need some more in-depth coaching. I don't know what that might be, but you know, drop a note, hit me up in the DMs on any of my socials. Drop a note in the comments. I do read the comments myself, and let's see where you are. But I love to hear those stories. What's that moment for you if you have hit that I'm done with hustle culture? Like, when did that happen for you, and what did it look like? All right. Take care. Remember, you are worth celebrating each and every day. Be empowered in that knowledge, and know that you are worth the effort to take the step. And in this case, take the step away from hustle culture and to grow into more of who you want to be right now, today, for your future. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on the next video.